The Waterville City Council has voted to fund a new ambulance and more EMS positions. It's a debate that's been going on for months. The council voted unanimously to purchase a new ambulance for just over $290,000. The issue that has led to disagreements is new staffing for the department. In June, the council elected to delay a decision on staffing a third ambulance. Waterville Fire Chief Jason Frost said ambulances driving to Augusta have dramatically increased since the closure of Northern Light Inland Hospital. Some council members say there's still too many unknowns, specifically with federal funding, and taxpayers shouldn't suffer because of what is happening nationally. After a lengthy discussion, the council voted 5-2 in favor of 4 new fire rescue employees for an estimated $275,000, in addition to just over $200,000 previously allocated.
The big issue that we have is staff burnout. I've had 4 staff leave since July 1st. I have done exit interviews, which we've never done before, with those 4 staff. One of them walked out the door and said that the ambulance call volume is just too much.
This is a real problem.
It's a huge problem, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think that the direction we're headed with increasing the property taxes as much as we're going to have to is sustainable. So we need a solution, but I don't think that the solution is, at this point in time, adding to the burden of the taxpayers in this city.
The City Council also voted to enter into a mutual aid agreement with Winslow. Winslow can contact Waterville as their first option for a paramedic or ambulance. Waterville can decline if they don't have the resources available or respond to the call, which they would get reimbursed for. Broadway in Bangor at the I-95 overpass will be closed for nighttime construction starting Sunday as demolition work on the southbound bridge continues. The city of Bangor says the nighttime closure will happen from Sunday, October 26th through Thursday, October 30th. Broadway will be closed to all vehicles from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. those days, with flaggers on site to assist pedestrians through the work zone. The city says motorists should plan for extra travel time and follow detour signs during that closure.